Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to continue along with this page in Johanna Basford's World of Flowers. This is for a color along that I have a lot of people participating along with me in my Facebook group. And we are all coloring either this page or the underwater house that is in Johanna Basford's Lost Ocean. I chose to do this page, and it follows a color palette. And as you can see, this is my idea of colors. If I can, I will insert in the top corner of the video, probably over here, the color palette or the pencils that I am using. I have 15 pencils and I have to kind of try to work them together and blend them and mix colors and what have you to create different effects and looks on this page. It is actually very challenging, and since I'm starting to get to the end of this and I don't have much left to color, it is becoming more and more challenging. I know a lot of you are feeling the same way that are doing this color along, but that's why we do them, because they are really challenging and they really get you to think, and they're a lot of fun because it really makes you explore and come up with new color combinations that you probably wouldn't had tried before. I did a little bit of this off camera, and I think, let me see, what did I do off camera? So I finished these flowers. I really love the way they turned out. I finished this whole section actually off camera up here. I did these flowers here off camera and these leaves. As you can see, I have tried to get a little bit creative with some of these leaves and not necessarily try to stick with greens. I brought in some of the pinks because most of you know not all leaves are always yellows or greens. Leaves do have other colors, and some leaves do have pink and more of like a fleshy type pink tone in them. So I've got nectar in my color palette. So I believe that is what I added in there, probably some nectar and peach, I believe, along with lime peel and marine green. And I really like how it turned out. I did the same thing down here, if you can see these leaves down here, and I actually did these in a previous video and I really love those. So we are going to I'm going to try to finish this up today, and I have to do these flowers here. So I'm coming in right now with my nectar, and I'm doing these in nectar because if you look, I've got most of my other flowers are a lot of purples, and so I wanted to kind of make these pink to make them stand out a little bit. Of course, I've got these pink flowers down here, but they're really small, so I think that we'll be okay by making these. I think I'm going to do possibly nectar and deco peach. So I'm just going to start by doing this here and kind of pulling this through. I like to make a little bit of lines kind of through the center so that when the colors blend, it kind of gives it, I don't know, some kind of dimension or definition. So now I'm going to come in with my Deco Peach, and we are going to kind of go over that. And I think I'm going to leave a little bit of white here in the center like that. I kind of like how that is looking. Let me pull you down. Maybe I could pull you in a little bit closer. There we go. Okay, so I'm using my Deco Peach. I'm going to do the same thing here with this one. And again, I'm leaving a little bit of white, if you could see that in the center, because I kind of have an idea of what I want to do with that. I'm just trying to kind of pull this nectar out. If you're new to Prismacolor pencils, or any colored pencils for that matter. I'm mainly a colored pencil colorist. I use markers and such sometimes, but not too often. And if I do use markers, I always overlay them with colored pencils. My primary choice of colored pencils are Prismacolors. I know most of you that are in my Facebook group know that because my Facebook group is all about Prismacolor combinations. If you're interested in joining my Facebook group and you love your Prismacolors like I do, we mainly concentrate on just specifically Prismacolors in my group, but we do every Monday have Multimedia Monday where you could share what you've done using other media such as markers or your palette pastels or whatever it is you like to use, gel pens. And I keep my group very interactive. I would like to say it is one of the most interactive coloring groups on Facebook. At least that's my goal for it, and that's what my intention is. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups and I've not seen another one that does all of this, but we do consistent color alongs and I do everything with you on video so that we could all do it together and you can follow along. And I make lots of tutorials. As you can see, I'm coming in here with some cream now and kind of filling in that white space. But like I was saying earlier, I think I got a little sidetracked, but if you're new to Prismacolor pencils and you don't really have a lot of experience coloring with them, that is generally what you do. You pull the colors to blend them. That's what I do. I like to pull the colors together. If you've got two colors sort of in the same family or color family, kind of like this Nectar and the Deco Peach, I always lay the darker one down first, and then as you can see when I colored this, and you'll see when I color the next one, I laid the Deco Peach on top of it and I kind of pulled through. Now if you don't want to lighten the darkest color, then you would just pull through from maybe the halfway point and not necessarily go all the way down to the bottom. It really depends on what kind of look you want your end result to be. Now I'm looking at this and I really don't think it has enough depth at all. So I am trying to decide now what color I am going to come in with to darken it up, because I really want it to have some extra dimension. So I don't have a lot of choices because my color palette is only 15 pencils. And a lot of my colors, as you can see if you look at my page, are pretty much the same, like within the same color families. So my choices are basically dark purple or mahogany red. And I don't think I've done the dark purple on this page with the Nectar yet. I have tended to pretty much turn to the mahogany red to use with this because it's kind of in the same color family. I think I am going to be a little bit daring and try to mix this one up. I've been sticking with using the dark purple with the purples and the mahogany red with the Nectars. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. And we are going to come right here on the edges where I want a little more definition. And look at the difference that makes. Now, if I do this and I kind of do little, very light brush strokes, look at the difference it makes. And all that definition I just added to that one flower just by doing that very little thing, because this is a pretty dark color and so it has a lot of pigment. So I need to do it really lightly. Okay, so my lead was a little dull, so I did sharpen it a little bit, because when you're doing this, you really should have somewhat of a sharp point on your pencil. It makes a huge difference. I think I want a little bit out here. If you go really slow while you're doing this, again, if you look, I think like maybe 3 videos back, I did a video called The Thought Process of a Colorist. And that video was extremely popular. I think it has close to 600 views at this point, and I only posted it a couple days ago. I will, if I remember, put a link to that video up here in this top corner, and you could click on it and you will be able to go to that video very easily. But it was a really good video, and I just kind of talked through what I'm thinking as I go, and you'll see in that video as I'm coloring how I had one idea in the beginning and what the end product actually ended up looking like. Because most of you know that have been coloring for a while, when you first start coloring something, any object on the page, you really don't know what you want the end result to be. Now I'll color this one flower and I'll get it looking just the way that I want it to look. And then so when I get to the next flower, you know, like the other ones that look just like it, I'll have an idea of what I'm trying to do. And I'll go a lot faster. But when I do the first object of its kind, I generally am a lot slower while I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want it to look. Now I'm going to come back with my nectar, and I'm going to just kind of pull this out just a little bit and give it a nice blend. And if you notice, I'm going to stay out of these areas where I had the peach and the cream, because I don't want to lay this color down there. You see how it's kind of changing the color a little bit and lightening it up in certain areas, but it is still blending it out. That is exactly what I'm trying to do. And you can always come back with your darker color after you do this and blend it out, and make it darker again if you wanted to. That is one of the most amazing things about these Prismacolors. You can go back and just redo it after you blend it out and fix it and make it look the way that you want it to look. But I think it's coming along nicely. Now let me show you what I was talking about. Well, you know what? Let me do this first. Let me come in with my Deco Peach and kind of add a little bit of this in. But I don't want to add too much, because I really want the darker of the flower to really stand out. And I kind of like where I laid that cream more than I like the peach. So I'm really just using this Deco Peach to give it a better blend and pull it through. Now see how nicely it's blending, and as it blends, you're kind of losing the white of the paper. Now this paper in these Johanna Basford books, it is thick, but it is smoother. So you don't have as much tooth to fill with your pencils. So you're only going to be able to get a certain amount of layers. Whereas if you were using another paper in possibly another book, or had another paper that you printed a page out, those of you that are doing this color along, if you've used better paper and you printed it out and used the freebie one, then you may have more tooth than me. So you may be able to fill the tooth in the paper even more than I am able to do. And sometimes you want that, and sometimes you really don't. I've noticed in some places on this page, I'm struggling because I want a little bit more tooth in the paper, but in other areas, it really doesn't bother me because I don't need more tooth in the paper. It really is all about your style as a colorist. Now you're going to take some of these tips and stuff, you know, that I show you, and it's good to kind of work them in to your own coloring as you're learning, and continue to practice and kind of create your own style within and figure out exactly how you like things to be done. Because you may take some of my ideas, or maybe some ideas from another colorist that has tutorials, and kind of mix them and see which ones you like the best and which ones you don't like, because the way I do things is the way I do things, and I kind of have created my own style. And I don't really see, like right here on this paper, I have an issue right here with the paper where the paper is kind of buckling up, because I really would like to have more tooth so these colors blend a little bit better. Now see, I'm coming back and I'm just adding a little bit more of the dark in here, and closest to the center of the flower. But yeah, don't necessarily try to copy what another colorist is doing necessarily. Take some of those ideas and use them as you're learning, and try to kind of develop your own coloring style. That is very important. You don't want your coloring and the way you color to look exactly like someone else's. So I think I like the way it looks. Now, I don't know, do I want to come back in here and let me just blend it out just a little bit more with my nectar, because it just doesn't look smooth enough to me. And then of course we've got this mark right here where the paper kind of is out of tooth and done with these pencils. But that's okay, because we're still going to make it look good. I really like it. Now, how many of you know what I'm gonna do with the center of that flower? Look what I ordered the other day. All of these stickles, and I have a bunch more. Now, I am going to stay with, these are my new ones. I haven't even gotten to use these yet, but they're amazing. And I always do the centers of the flowers, and even sometimes I'll do like the center line right here in the flowers. I'll put a little bit of glitter there to make it kind of really stand out. But I'm definitely going to stay in my color palette. So maybe a purple in the center would be really pretty. I don't have yellows in my palette. Oh, I do have a yellow in my palette. The only yellow in my palette though is the yellow ochre. So I think I want to put this purple. I've not used this yet. It's lavender. Oh, that works out perfect because I actually have the lavender pencil in my color palette. So we're gonna put lavender glitter in the center. And I've not used this color yet. Let's see how opaque it is. Generally, these stickles are pretty opaque. Look how beautiful that is to finish it off. Oh, how pretty. I'm gonna leave that one out. I've got a lot more colors though. I've got all these. And I have a bunch more back there. But I'm a little obsessed with stickles. They are amazing. But that, do you see how I kind of went through the thought process of what I was thinking as I went along and created the look for this flower? I didn't know when I first started it what it was going to look like in the end, but I kind of started with an idea and I ended up with an end result and kind of just talked my way through it. And I'm going to do the rest of these the same way. Okay, so now if you would like to see me color the rest of the flowers, I am going to do a little bit of a speed coloring addition onto this video with some relaxing music. So this will be a little bit different than normal. You will have your tutorial and how I colored the flower, and then we are going to have the speed coloring kind of relaxing set to music attached on. Now if you would like to join us for this color along, make sure you check the description for the link to my Facebook group and join us in the Facebook group. You can go on my channel and you will find this video as well as all of the previous videos that belong to this color along series all in a playlist, and you can go ahead and watch through that playlist from the beginning to the end, as well as learn how I chose my colors for the palette, the palettes that were available, the pages that were available for this color along. If you would still like to do it, you could still join in and do it with us and come in the Facebook group, post your progress, your combinations of pencils that you used on each different object, and your final product when it's finished. And I always, for these color alongs, gather everybody's pictures and I will make a video and I will do kind of a collaboration per se of everybody's work and their color palette that they chose, and it will all be in a video featured on my YouTube channel. If you would like to be a part of that, join us for the color along, and make sure if you enjoy these videos you subscribe and turn on your bell notifications so that you do always get notified when I post another video. So stick around and enjoy the speed coloring set to relaxing music that will continue here. Happy coloring and have a great day. Bye!